But we begin tonight with waste, fraud, and abuse. First, the waste. The interwebs are buzzing over the very expensive New Orleans mini vacay co-president Donald Trump took to the Super Bowl yesterday. And yes, we will be discussing how epic and woke it was later in the show. Trump became the first commander-in-chief to attend a game in person, something he took great public pride in and that you paid for, since it costs money to gas up Air Force One and fill it with Trump's family and political friends, which included House Speaker Mike Johnson, who is from Louisiana and maybe could have flown himself. But, more fun to ride on the taxpayer dime, which also includes the 700 federal employees, Secret Service agents, and support teams who had to be added even before Trump arrived to secure the Superdome and guard the president and his party. What happened to reducing government spending? Before the game, Trump greeted players from the Kansas City Chiefs and predicted they would snag a three-peat victory, after which they promptly lost badly. With Patrick Mahomes getting sacked so many times, it was almost as if Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville didn't entirely make up the idea that he was the one who scouted him and actually coached him and the entire Chiefs offensive line, too. They were that bad. So that's the waste. Moving on to the fraud and abuse. Late last week, Elon Musk's Doge gang infiltrated and ostensibly shut down another real federal agency, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which protects you, the ordinary consumer, from predatory bankers and credit card companies, installing Project 2025 architect and head of the Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought, as acting head of the agency. He promptly shut down agency headquarters and today told employees to stand down on performing any work task. Weird that at the same time Doge is shutting down agencies, implementing speech codes and lists of banned words, and grabbing millions of Americans' private data, they also seem to be attacking agencies that regulate Elon Musk's businesses. It turns out Elon is looking to turn X-Twitter from a mere Nazi posting free-for-all that he has to bully people to advertise on into a financial company that people can use to make purchases, as if anyone with sense would give him even more data than his youth tech bro army have already maybe taken. Bloomberg reports that when 4 Doge staffers showed up late last week, at first they had what was described as read-only access to a limited array of documents. Then, late Friday night, the Doge staffers were granted access to all of CFPB's data systems, including sensitive bank examination and enforcement records, according to 5 people familiar with the matter. The report adds Musk has publicly mused about expanding into payment services since he first took control of X in 2022. Entering that business could bring CFPB oversight under rules the agency finalized in November. The records Doge can now access would include sensitive and potentially competitive information. Surprise, surprise. At a protest outside the shuttered agency today, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, who came up with the idea for the agency, called out Elon's real motives.
This is like a bank robber trying to fire the cops and turn off the alarms just before he strolls into the lobby. We are here to fight back.
Meanwhile, the Doge gang have also targeted other agencies that regulate Elon's businesses, including the one investigating it for labor violations and discrimination claims, and others investigating it for safety violations. And Trump bragged on Fox that he next wants them to target the Pentagon, which happens to have been investigating SpaceX. But, I'm sure it's all about finding waste, fraud, and abuse for the American taxpayer. No. Yeah. Take a deep breath for just a moment and ponder big balls and the normalized Indian hate guy also taking control of the Federal Aviation Administration, meaning they control airline safety, alongside Sean from the Real World Boston, our transportation secretary. According to the Washington Post, part of the goal of this reorganization is to replace as many federal workers, humans, as possible with AI and computers. If you enjoy automated customer service, you're going to absolutely love your new Elonified government. And while Elon is working to make his life even easier, federal employees are being kept from doing their jobs. Scores of USAID employees showed up to work this morning after a federal judge blocked the Musk administration order that would have put thousands of them on administrative leave. Unnamed officers positioned in front of the doors at the agency turned them all away, according to the Associated Press. One unnamed official told the staffers, "Just go," and "Why are you here?" The fact that the agency remains closed is a clear violation of that judge's order, which he left in effect pending a federal ruling, a final ruling, I should say, today. Another judge just blocked Musk's directive to halt funding for medical research grants that, again, the Doge gang have no authority to do. Trump and Musk remained defiant, however, extending their work stoppage order to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and to all federal contractors. While the Trump administration continues to ignore the law, Musk's private staffers continue to access agencies with our data on them, unfettered and unrestrained. The Washington Post is reporting that the aforementioned 19-year-old Musk minion, Ed Korstein, who used to go by the name Big Balls online, has a new role at the State Department. According to the Post, he's now senior advisor with the State Department's Bureau of Diplomatic Technology, a critical hub for data, both sensitive and non-sensitive. Officials noted that his position at the Technology Bureau could give him a foothold for obtaining unauthorized access to classified material and to compromising information on other countries and foreign activities. Now, this is the point where I remind you that little Mr. Big Balls was fired by a previous employer for leaking a data security firm's information to a competitor. Joining me now from Capitol Hill is NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. I don't even know where to begin. But let me start where I ended, Vaughn. We now have this barely out of teenager or teenage staffer having access to potentially classified data. We know that Donald Trump surreptitiously took home classified data, took it and put it in his bathroom. Is there any way of finding out or is there any reporting or any way of understanding what these teenagers and young people may have taken?
Right. And to that point, Joy, I'm also told that there's another young man in his early 20s who just 1 week ago sent a agency-wide email to USAID informing all of the more than 10,000 employees that USAID headquarters in D.C. would be shut down. His name is Gavin Kleiger, and I'm told that he is also a part of this State Department team with the young man who goes by Big Balls. This is a moment here in which, almost 3 weeks into this administration, there's been a lack of transparency about the efforts taken on by these young men, but also the lawyers inside of these various agencies. The State Department is the latest, but we know that they are now inside of the Veterans Affairs Department. They're now inside of the Pentagon and DOD. Of course, USAID and now the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau have effectively, their operations have been shut down by this administration. But all of this is coming to a head here, as in the last 72 hours, there have been 5 federal judges that have independently ruled, essentially pausing efforts by Elon Musk, his Doge team, in the Trump administration.